Hey, Tony D here with a Screenwriter's Rant. Today we're going to look at the Mandalorian trailer on Netflix by request. Smash like, subscribe if you like it. And if you really want to support me, buy Wokistan, a novel. The link is in the comments. All right, let's check it out. Star Wars, Star Wars. More Star Wars. It's a good opening shot. Tells you the Empire's not in control. Liking the music. Ships, aliens, guys in armor, space money, Apollo Creed. Neat, cool deserts. And the Mandalorian. Someone I don't know. Aliens. Not much of a story here. Gus from Breaking Bad. I like the music. Lots of violence.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Don't you agree?
Original series streaming November 12th. More Star Wars. It looks cool. I mean, a TV series with a bounty hunter could be cool. Boba Fett type guy. My understanding is it's not Boba Fett. I actually made a version of this. This is the second time I watched it, and I thought this was Boba Fett, and then I checked. And I'm like, oh, it's not Boba Fett. I mean, I thought it was early Boba Fett, but it's not. It's some other guy, the Mandalorian. I don't know. I'm so out of Star Wars now. I don't care. I don't care about any of this stuff. Is it a good story? Is it cool? I gotta say, it looks cool. I think this bounty hunter concept in the world of Star Wars could be a good TV show. Now, here's my caveat. The world of Star Wars is broken. Has been broken for a long time, and here's why. In the first three movies, the implication is that there was a government, planets, a system, all kinds of stuff running around, and then the Empire, starting with A New Hope, really just steamrolled everything. And so everything gets steamrolled for three movies, and then at the end of the third movie, the rebels finally retake, and beat the Empire. The problem has been ever since what it really existed before. Now, there's this idea of the Republic. How did that work? Well, in the prequels, we got a glimpse, and it didn't work. It didn't really make any sense. The government didn't really come together. There wasn't a sense of this is how that Star Wars universe worked before the Empire, and this is how the Empire comes in the power, because of the way it worked and their excesses or whatever you want to call it. The same thing is true now, I think, with the sequels, although I haven't seen a lot of them. And the whole concept of the Jedi, in my view, got ruined in The Phantom Menace with the midichlorians. As soon as they introduced that, it was evident to me that somebody really dropped the ball. I don't know if it was George or whatever, but I guess you have to say it's George. You really have to blame him. Because, the whole idea of the Force in the first three movies was this thing bigger than us all. It was basically like God. And when you introduce the midichlorians, suddenly everything shrunk down to this little thing that you could read on a gadget. Not a good move. That really killed, in my view, Star Wars. In terms of the concept, ideologically. The entire concept of Star Wars died in that sequence. because from then you couldn't do what you did in the first three movies, which was say, hey, you got to have faith in yourself and in people. And A New Hope, the first movie, is so great, not just because of Luke Skywalker's transformation and faith in the Force at the end of the movie, but the transformation of Han Solo at the end. He comes back as his friend to save him. And it's like Han gets a little bit of the light inside him, right? The light side, Luke is a believer almost from the beginning, or not quite in the beginning, but he becomes a believer, he becomes a convert, and Han just resists, and at the end of the movie, he finally takes a little bit of the light inside him, and that's a great transformation. Transformation is missing from Star Wars now. We don't have that. And one of the reasons we don't have that is because George, unfortunately, reduced that transformation into a bunch of sci-fi gobbledygook that anybody can do. And if the Mandalorian, I almost said midichlorian, if the Mandalorian is just a bunch of guys running around shooting each other and there's nothing really at stake here, that's part of the problem, Another big problem with the prequels was the whole idea of slavery and the Jedi just going, oh yeah, they're slaves. Oh, what a shame. That was a big problem too. And so there's not a good sense anymore, in my view, of good and evil in Star Wars. Even though they have light and dark, there's this blurring of the lines that effed everything up. And, the whole franchise just needs to be shelved until someone can come along and fix it and reboot it or whatever, or they really just need to do something new at this point. It's too much. It's too much. There's too much at stake. No one can really go into a cool new direction with it. It's always going to be that way. It's always going to be this big project, this big production. And unfortunately, I think Disney's just going to drive it until the wheels fall off and then on to the next thing. Sorry.